And we are live. Scrutiny live. You are here
Welcome back.
with welcome back. You're here with BJ and
Here with Rob. Welcome back. Welcome back.
start us off, Rob. We got a lot of stuff for y'all tonight. We're gonna try to keep y'all for a long time. We're gonna try to make it quick.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make it quick. We're gonna try to make it quick, like the Saints quickly exiting the playoffs.
Exactly.
You watch that game? How crazy was that ending? Oh man.
I did. I checked it out, man. That was insane.
You know, I had the Saints winning that game, by the way. I had the Saints winning
Yeah, the
that
Saints winning.
game. Yeah, I had the Saints winning. And you know what? When I saw that it was inside the two it was inside 2 minutes and the Saints went up. It was 24-23. I was like, oh, okay. So my pick it pulled through because at first I believe it was 17-0 at the half, if I
It was
recall.
17-0.
Yeah, it was 17-0. And I was like, oh, well, I guess Minnesota is just destroying the Saints. But then Drew Brees, he pulled some tricks out of his ass and he brought them back. And um, I believe Minnesota scored a touchdown, but they missed a field goal, which gave them the 23 points. But that might have happened earlier in the game. I'm not sure. Either way, I know they missed a field goal,
Uh-oh.
and that was what put them at 23. So I was like, okay, so if they score and they just get a field goal, it'll be 24-3 or 24-23. And the Saints did that. They had 17 points. They scored a touchdown. They kicked the field goal 24-23. I was like, oh, game's over. Until the last like 14 seconds. And you know what's funny? Sean Payton, the head coach for the Saints, was mocking the Minnesota Vikings crowd with 17 seconds left, doing their little Viking chant. They do this, the whole Viking
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, he was doing that to the crowd right
Yeah.
before Case Keenum threw the touchdown pass. It was like seconds before he threw the ball. There was a picture of Sean Payton doing that, and I was seriously, I was watching it, and there was a I don't remember, I can't
Mocking.
recall the safety's name, but the either the free safety or the strong safety of the Saints, man, he just blew it. He blew it. He had a full on clean shot at tackling this guy, and he didn't even wrap his arms around him. He just like put his hands in his pockets and then just dove forward and missed completely.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs, the wide receiver that caught the ball, he was probably so surprised he almost fell out of bounds. He was expecting to get creamed right there. Then he looks around. He's like, "Oh, nobody's here." Just puts his hand on the ground and continues running. Touchdown. Minnesota Vikings win. But that wasn't even the best part. The
Make
best
it sound so easy, man.
the best part about the game was at the end, because at the end of regulation you have to um, kick a field goal or play another play. But basically, you have to do a point after. And by the time, because of the crowd, the media, and the teams were celebrating, it had taken so long to get to the point where they were going to do the extra point that the Saints had already gone into the locker room and started changing. The officials, the game wasn't over, so they had to go into the locker room and pull out some Saints players that were
Right.
dressed to come
Yep.
out. The,
I saw
the
that.
the punter came out and lined up on the defensive line. It was pretty funny. But so it was like 7 Vikings on one side with Case Keenum. He was just gonna knee the ball, and there was like 7 defensive players for the Saints. They could have been offensive players. I don't even know. But I give mad respect to those Saints players that came out, because they could have just said fuck it, just been like, I don't want to go out. We lost. Why do I want to go out there? But
But these guys are. I mean, these guys are. They're trying to push hard for this last. They got their eye on the prize. These teams got tunnel vision
oh
in
yeah,
their
oh
eyes. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? So.
yeah. Once that tunnel closes, man, they're a different person. They're
Oh yeah.
I've tasted defeat. I've tasted defeat. I've tasted defeat when I knew I was supposed to win, and the only person I was angry at was myself. But I couldn't be around people. Don't come around me when I'm mad at
No,
myself. I'm not a
no.
nice guy. I will take it out. I will take it out on you.
That's how it is.
Even though,
So, Rob, what do
even
you
though you
think
should.
about these? What do you think about these coaches being let go?
Oh yeah,
That's one.
with the Steelers. Yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, Todd Haley. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he's the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the only thing I can think about is, or the only thing I could say is, earlier in the season, Big Ben, the quarterback, he came out publicly saying that he didn't like the way the offense was running. He
Mm-hmm.
said that they weren't disciplined, that he wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have a successful season or something like that. But that was like week 2. Like the season hadn't even
Mm-hmm.
really got underway. It hadn't even been a month deep yet. And honestly, that just, I guess to me, that just, pushed the ball down the hill. Kind of just spiraled after that, and everything. If as bad as the morale was in the locker room, they played pretty well out on the field. I will admit that, but I could see it coming back then. Um, the offensive coordinator. I mean, that was pretty much all the team had was offense. I mean, they had an average defense, but they allowed um 45 points with the Jacksonville Jags. 14 of
Saxonville.
those came from, so yeah, Saxonville. That's my team right now. That's my team. Because that's been my team for a while. But
Yeah,
um
it has.
but what was I saying? Oh yeah. They had a subpar defense, and to allow the Jacksonville Jaguars in a Blake Bortles, very average quarterback score all those points. I mean, it just seemed like every time that they
Very
needed to score, the Jacksonville Jaguars scored. And yeah, I say he's very average, but I'm not saying he's bad. He's very average, but he works for their system. He's working in their system. Whatever system they got
Mm-hmm.
going there. It works for Blake Bortles. And I'm not surprised at all that they're facing the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship. I mean, they got the best defense in the game. I mean, many people will say that the Minnesota Vikings have the best defense, but that's only in the past few weeks. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars were the number one defense from week 3 to like week 13, and then Minnesota took over. It's like, okay, fine, yeah, we'll let you be the number one, but they're not number one by much. So
So they letting them be the number one.
yeah, they're just letting them be the number one, letting them feel good, just in case the Minnesota Vikings do make it to the Super Bowl. Oh, by the way, on that note, if the Minnesota Vikings beat the Eagles, they will be the first NFL team to ever host the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is in
They'll be
Minnesota.
right. What do you think? But do you think that would give them a home? I mean, of course, it'll give them a home field advantage. But do you think that's something that should go down like that?
Well, the venue for the Super Bowl has been chosen for like the past 5 years, so there's no way for them to change it.
Right.
They're like, we already know,
Right.
we don't know. I don't think they've announced it yet. But the NFL commissioner and all the white hats, they all know where the Super Bowl is going to be for the next 5 years. So, like, say next year it's in Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Steelers make it to the
Right.
Super Bowl. There's no way of choosing or not choosing whether or not your home team is gonna be in the Super Bowl. It's
I
never
guess
been
that's just
done.
the way it panned out. That's just the way it panned out this
Yeah,
year.
it's never been done. The home team has never made it to the Super Bowl. Not one time. I know there's been like 2 occasions where like maybe the Cowboys the Super Bowl was in Dallas and they made it to like the NFC Championship, but then they lost
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no team has ever made it to the Super Bowl when the Super Bowl is being held in their hometown. So
Well,
I don't know.
that may be different for the 2017-2018 season. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we shall
But
see.
then
But speaking,
talking about
go ahead.
the Eagles
Real
game.
quick, Rob, real quick. So before you get to the point you're trying to get to, I just want to throw this in there. So the fairy tale is over for the Bills.
Oh yeah, fairy tale is over for the Bills. We all knew that was gonna end. I knew it was gonna end. There's no way they were gonna
You
get
said
back.
it, man.
I
You
mean, I
said it.
mean, my whole thing was it was a matchup thing, and a lot of people are discrediting the Jags because they only
Mm-hmm.
scored 10 points. But um, Blake Bortles was playing. I remember that game. It was very average, and I use that word a lot when it comes to Blake Bortles because that's what
I don't
that's
know
what
why, man. Blake Bortles is a great quarterback.
he's an average quarterback. A great quarterback is that of Ben Roethlisberger because that he was thrown against the number one passing defense, and he threw for
You mean the 50,
400.
the 50
Huh?
50 quarterback. The 50-50
Yeah.
quarterback.
Well, he was more than 50-50 Sunday. He threw for 469 yards, for like 4 touchdowns
Yes, he did. Yes, he
against the
did.
number one passing defense in the league. All I'm saying is Blake Bortles is not the reason the Jacksonville Jaguars are in the playoffs. The Jacksonville Jaguars are in the playoffs because they have the number one rushing offense and they have the number one defense.
Defense, yes, the defense has definitely
And
got them where they're meant to
speaking
be.
about that, back to the Bills game, the defense is what won them that game because the offense wasn't doing much, but they still kept the Bills to only one field goal. I think it was only one field goal. All I know is the Jacksonville Jaguars only scored 10 points. I don't know what the
Mm-hmm.
Bills did. I don't really remember. I was just hoping that Jacksonville won. And then talking about the same wild card round, I was wrong about the Titans. They beat the Chiefs. I was surprised by that. I mean, it was a close
You know,
game.
I wasn't surprised about that because that's who I had predicted to win that game. Um, but I wasn't surprised. I know you probably were, but I wasn't surprised.
I was surprised. See, my the way I was thinking was I thought the Chiefs were either going to have a close game. It was going to be like 21-17 or something, or they were going to get blown out. It was either the Chiefs going to win close or the Titans were just going to blow them out. I wasn't expecting it to be whatever. I think the score was like 22-21 or something. Titans pulled it out right at the end, and then they went to New England a couple weeks ago and got wrecked by Tom Brady. It was like 35-10 or something. But the Titans defense is nothing compared to the Jags defense. And I know we might have some Patriots fans watching or some Patriots fan that are gonna see this, but I don't think they stand a chance against that. The Jacksonville defense is too fast. Too fast. And speed kills.
That's why they got. Yes, that's why they picked up the moniker Saxonville.
Yeah. Yeah, they have 4 players, and they're the only team in the NFL that did this. 4 players with more than 8 sacks each, and then 2 of them with more than 12.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's like some serious numbers though.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Like, that's some
definitely.
serious numbers,
And
man.
they have. I think so they have 4 people with more than 8, 2 people with more than 12, and I think they have 8 people with more than 2.5, which is a lot. It's a lot of sacks.
Yeah, that's a lot of sacks in one season. That's like career stats. Or like
Yeah,
or
especially when you're getting sacks with the cornerbacks and the safeties all the
mm-hmm.
time. Like I know you when you blitz them and you spy the quarterback, you get it often, but you don't see it happening like every game. In Jacksonville,
No.
the cornerbacks or the safeties are always getting sacked. They're always causing problems in the backfield. And that's the one thing I've noticed about Tom Brady this year is as composed as he is and as great as he is, possibly the greatest quarterback ever. He hasn't faced a defense like the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. I think it might scare him. I think it's going to
Well,
scare
see,
him.
the Jacksonville. That's the thing. Now, if I was him, I would be worried about them because, I mean, look at what they've done. Look at what their defense have done all season long. You think it's going to be any different now that they're this close to the Super Bowl? I don't think so. So,
Well, this is my thing.
go ahead.
they got a core in their defense. Now the defensive line is almost is vetted. They got some solid guys that have been in the NFL for a few years. They've been in the NFL a long time. Then they
Long time,
got
yeah.
safeties and corners. Like my opinion, Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in the game, but he's only on his second year. He's still really
Mhm.
young. And then they got these young running backs. T.J. Yeldon, he's young. I believe he's only on his second year. Leonard Fournette, their starting running back. He's still a rookie. Then they got Chris Ivory. He's been in the league like 2 years. Then they got Blake Bortles, who won his first playoff game. Uh, the atmosphere from making it to the AFC Championship versus playing to make it to the Super Bowl is a different kind of stress. The
Do you
stress
think it's
level,
do you think it's more or less stress
oh,
going
a lot
a lot more
more,
stress? You
because
think
the reason they haven't, it's the same as the Patriots haven't played the Jags. The Jags haven't played the Patriots. The Jags already beat the Steelers, so it was a
hmm
different kind of stress going into a game to where against a team that you already dominated. So it's like, even though they haven't faced your defense, you haven't faced their offense either.
yeah, face the offenses, right?
I mean, you've seen Tom Brady. We've seen Tom Brady. The world has seen Tom Brady. He's got 5 Super Bowl rings, and he has the greatest comeback in NFL history last year. They know what they're walking into. They just don't know. They just haven't seen it in person.
I think this will be the fiercest, most strategical Tom Brady that we've seen in his season.
I'm
But the reason I say that is because I think that if Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl this year, if he wins another ring, I think he'll retire. I think he'll retire this year.
I think he will too, because last year when he won, I remember his wife telling him that he needs to retire. And you know how that goes. Wife says something, it's bound to happen.
I mean, and his wife is Giselle Bundchen, so
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, when Giselle Bundchen tells you to retire, you retire. Um,
But
but I think they'll see a very, I
my
feel bad for the team that I feel bad for the team that plays them in the if they make it to the Super Bowl. I feel bad for the team that plays them because, like I said,
I
this
th-
I believe this will be the fiercest Tom Brady that we've ever seen in the last 10 years.
I don't think so.
You
I
don't think so?
think I think it's gonna be a blowout.
Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be the fiercest Tom Brady though?
He's gonna be fierce, but it's not gonna be the most focused Tom Brady, because it's almost like, okay, Bill Belichick is a defensive coach. He's
Mm-hmm.
always been a defensive strong coach, and they've always had Tom Brady to just pull through whatever half-assed or crooked defense that they might run. Tom
Mm-hmm.
Brady's always been able to just do it.
Right.
And you remember early in the season, the Patriots were on track to be the worst defense in
Yeah.
NFL history. In
Yes.
NFL
Yes.
history, not just this year, in history. And then,
Mm-hmm.
bam, week 5 comes around and Bill Belichick turns them all around. Now they're like ranked 15. They went from last to 15 in a matter of 8 weeks. So I'm thinking Bill Belichick is going to go into that game super confident because he thinks he can read defenses, and they're not going to be able to. The one thing that you cannot teach anybody, speed. You cannot teach a person speed. And the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is faster than anybody that they have on the offensive side in the New England Patriots. And I
Mm-hmm.
think not Tom Brady, but Bill Belichick is going to be overconfident and thinking that, oh, I'm a defensive guy. I know what they're going to do. I know what they're going to do. And when you have speed on the defensive side, you can make small mistakes because your speed will still make up for it.
Right.
You can't make a mistake when you don't have the speed. So if they make a mistake on offense, Jacksonville Jaguars are going to capitalize on it. And the one thing that I've been telling everybody for like 10 years,
Uh oh.
do not give Tom Brady a second chance. Now,
Because he'll
I'm
take
going
it.
to I'm
He'll
going to
take it. He'll make
refer
the best out of
if you remember when the Patriots played the Steelers, and before that whole debacle with the catch, not a catch thing, the Steelers were up. I think they were up 23 to like 20 or something.
Mm-hmm.
They were winning that game. Or no, it was 20 to 24, I think. But the Patriots were driving. It was above the 2-minute warning. The Patriots were driving. And Tom Brady threw to Gronkowski on the left, and he threw it short or behind him. And one of the Steelers defenders put his hands on him on the ball and dropped it. He dropped the
Right.
interception. That could have won the game. That would have sealed the deal for the Steelers. It probably would have gave them the first round. Actually, I guarantee it would have gave them the first round, or the first seed. But right after that drop, Tom Brady went like 5 for 5 with laser balls, just
Yep.
laser passes. I mean, just he wasn't missing
Yeah,
anything.
he
He
moved
was
it
on
like
fire,
he moved it up
and
the field.
that was the second. Those are the second chance that you cannot give Tom Brady, and I don't think Tom Brady's going to get those second chances against the Jacksonville defense, because even though it's a pressure game. I think those young guys are going to be so cocky that they're going to ignore the pressure, and it's going to look a little bit like, if you remember the Super Bowl when it was Peyton Manning's Broncos versus the Seahawks, and Peyton
Yeah.
Manning was led like the best offense in like the last 30 years, and then they had the Legion of Boom with Richard Sherman, and he
Oh yeah.
led like one of the most interceptions defense over the past like 10 years. It was basically the
Oh
number
yeah.
one offense versus the number one defense. And everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to be a battle. This is going to be a battle." But then it was like 44 to nothing
Mm-hmm.
in favor of the Seahawks. That's what this game is going to be a little bit like.
Ooh.
Because
Ooh.
I'm not saying it's going to be 44 nothing, but I'm saying the defense is just going to be ridiculous. Because the same way as the Legion of Boom with the Seahawks went in to face against the number one offense and record-setting offense in Peyton Manning that same year, they didn't care. They were cocky. They were in the Super Bowl. There was no tomorrow. They just ripped them to pieces. Interceptions, sacks, pick sixes, fumble returns for touchdowns. They gave Russell Wilson the ball and he took advantage of it. The same thing is going to happen here, because Blake Bortles, even though I say he's average, he runs well. He runs that system well that they got going over there in Jacksonville. So I think Jacksonville is going to come out on top, probably somewhere in the 30s, and they're going to stop the Patriots to less than 20 points.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. With that being said, and I'm gonna ask you this again. I've already asked you this on our last show, but I want to ask you again. Who's taking it all the way? Because it seems you seem to sway one way one week, and then the next, you watch a couple games, and then you're like, so what you think? Who's taking it all the way?
It's hard to tell because these four teams can all beat each other.
I got my pick. My team's out, so I can make an unbiased pick for who I think is going to take it all the way.
Who you got?
So I'm going with Jacksonville. That's the only people. I mean, that's the only team I can go with. I mean, Jacksonville came out of nowhere this season. Not necessarily. I wouldn't say they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they came out of nowhere. They only had 3 wins last season.
But the thing about Jacksonville was what they really proved is if you have a strong defense, that can pretty much carry your team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been a known thing in football that defense wins championship.
It's been a known. But that's a prime example of that. That's a prime example of.
I mean, like 4 of the.
You have a solid, sound defense.
4 of the 6 Steeler championships were basically came from their defense. They didn't have offense back then. They didn't have a strong offense.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the best offense in the league, but they had the best defense for a whole decade almost.
Right.
But My thing is,
Agreed.
I don't think the Eagles will beat the Minnesota Vikings. I think, I mean, I wanted the Saints to win, and I thought the Saints were going to do a lot more than they did. But the way that Minnesota played showed the weaknesses. And I don't think Nick Foles is going to be able to keep up with that tough defense.
Mm-hmm. I don't think
I
so
think
either, man.
I think Nick Foles is going to be Nick Folds, and he's going to
It's Nick
fold in
Foles.
half when he gets crushed by those big defensive linemen or defensive tackles. And I think I think we're going to see the first home team in the Super Bowl. But the thing,
you think the Vikings
it's
are gonna make
hard. I think the Vikings will make it, but it's hard for me to decide. I want the Jacksonville Jaguars to win, but if I'm really going to
it?
make a pick, it's hard because at the end of the day, it's still Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and it's hard to shut those two guys out. I
The
mean,
team, man.
Tom Brady has this thing with his hand, which I think is just it's a ploy. I don't think it's a real thing.
Yeah,
It
so
could
tell
have
us
been a
exactly
real.
what. Tell us exactly what because some people are saying it's broke, some people are saying it's a sprain. I mean, what's
Well,
actually wrong with his hand?
what I was reading from some I forget it's called Boston Reporter. They were saying that in an accidental, like he accidentally hit his hand on somebody's shoulder pads while he was throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically you do that. Quarterbacks do that all the time in the game.
Right.
You can see it. The lineman's getting pushed back. They throw the ball. Their hand comes down on a helmet. Their hand comes down on a shoulder pad. That whole thing. So basically, all the guy was saying was that he jammed his hand during practice, and they got X-rays, and there was no serious structural damage.
Right. So he's all right.
They say he's fine. He was limited in practice though. He didn't throw the ball very much today in practice today. He didn't throw the ball very much, and then he didn't talk to the media today. But I'm sure
Right.
he's going to talk to the media tomorrow. I'm sure his hand's fine. He's probably just going to ice it tomorrow and rub up on Giselle's titty, and it'll be all right.
Well, Giselle definitely take him. Not yeah, she'll take care of him. I'm pretty sure he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
He'll be
But
Super Bowl ready.
but my pick, my
Shout out,
team, I'm say
shout out,
Jacksonville is going to make it to the Super Bowl.
shout out to Giselle Bunchen. Shout out to Giselle Bunchen.
Shout out, we'll get her in the interview next time. Although
We need to.
yeah, she'll be sitting right here when we interview.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Right.
no, that's not really gonna happen. But
I got a chair sitting right here, buddy. So she can always join your boy right here.
I think if I really had to pick, I think it's gonna be a defensive Super Bowl. It's gonna be because if you think about it, going back and looking at the NFL stats, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I would still put it number one, even though the Vikings are actually ranked number one, but not by much, by like 0.2 or some shit like that.
Right.
But we'll have the Jacksonville Jaguars be number one. Minnesota Vikings are two. I'm pretty sure the Eagles were three. If the Eagles aren't ranked three, then the Eagles are ranked four. So the weakest defense in the playoffs right now is the Patriots. They're ranked like 17th or something. But the best offense in the playoffs is the Patriots. So no matter what Tom Brady does, he's going to be facing a top 5 defense.
Yes, he is.
The Jags are number one. Minnesota Vikings are 2. The Eagles are 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what happens, he's going to be facing a strong, a fast, a physical, an interception heavy, either sack heavy, or just an all around dominating defense. And
I would kind of hope that the Super Bowl ended up like that because to me, I really enjoy watching a really good defensive game. Like I like watching a defense dominant game. I like to see a lot of sacks. I like to see a lot of fumbles. I like to see a lot of picks.
I like to see. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I like to see. I like to see one team just totally dominate and control the ball. Not necessarily score dominate, but like this is what has led me to really like that Jacksonville over the past few years because they are a run heavy team. their head coach is he's an offensive line focused coach. Like he focuses on the offensive line. Like that's his strong suit. So it's like they've always been a strong running team. And when you
Mm-hmm.
run the ball, you control the game. If you can get
Mm-hmm.
first downs running the ball, you will hold on to the ball forever. You will dominate the game. You will dominate time of possession. And if you can score, you will usually win. The only thing you need to
Mm-hmm.
back that up is a defense. And they got a defense. They got the best defense in the game. Do I think Tom Brady is going to win this year? No.
You do. Yes, you do.
No. Tom Brady is not going to win this year. Tom Brady will not win the Super Bowl this year. Tom Brady won't even make it to the Super Bowl this year.
Ooh.
Jacksonville is gonna beat them. They're gonna
Yeah, I
score.
believe so too, man. I believe so too, man. I believe
I
Jacksonville
believe
gonna be in.
I believe it's gonna be Jacksonville versus Minnesota in Minnesota during the Super Bowl, and Jacksonville will come out on top in a very very close game. I don't even know if I can pick a score for that because the defenses are just crazy.
Well, we'll see,
You,
man.
I mean the Saints had a good defense. The only difference between the Saints and the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is um both have really, really good corners, really good zone coverage, but the Saints lack pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Case Keenum wasn't really getting pressured at all that game. He was just sitting in the pocket in a lawn chair with a Heineken with his feet up throwing touchdowns. He was just relaxed, and it wasn't until the second half that they really started getting in his face, and even then they weren't getting in his face. I mean, not like Jacksonville was doing. I mean, if you go back and you watch Jacksonville versus the Steelers were scoring on them, and I think this is their weakness, which they're probably going to pick up on through quick screen passes and a lot of tricky play action. It's almost like the Steelers had to dig into their bag of tricks in order to get past the Jaguars, and then they still couldn't get past them. Big Ben made two. He made that interception, which led to 6-7
Yeah, he did.
points. He had that
He did.
fumble six, led to
Mm-hmm.
another 7 points. So Big Ben by himself, even though he put up 4 touchdowns, you have to take 2 of those touchdowns back simply because he gave up
Mm-hmm.
2 touchdowns.
Right.
So it's like, if they could do that to Ben, I mean, I don't doubt that they're going to be able to do that to Tom Brady because Ben is he's tougher than Tom Brady. He may not be as quarterback smart as Tom Brady, but he's
He's not as
more
quick as Tom
mobile.
Brady. He's not. You think he's more mobile than Tom Brady?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Tom Brady doesn't know how to move. If Tom Brady has to step out of the pocket, he'll just fall to his face. You don't want to get hit.
That
You
is
don't want to do
okay.
nothing.
Okay. Okay.
You don't
But the
want to
thing
do
about
nothing.
but Tom Brady is more accurate than Big Ben though. Big Ben can be he
I
can
don't
be
know. If you go back and you look at those passes, Big Ben was putting those balls where only his team could catch them.
yeah, that game.
Well, this is my thing. Go back and watch Big Ben. Big Ben owned that game. Honestly, even though Jacksonville
I'll
won,
have to go look at some Big Ben highlights and get myself caught back up because I mean I just don't remember Big Ben being like some games he'd be up here, some games he'd be over here. It's just like
no, I know that.
yeah,
He's a sloppy guy, but when it comes down to playing in the moment, they're both equal.
okay,
Big Ben, I don't like the guy. I think he's sloppy, but he can perform when he needs to. The same as Tom Brady. Because if you remember when they played against each other, Ben did drive them down the field, even though the guy didn't catch the ball. Even though everybody says it's a catch, by rule, it's not a catch. I don't care what anybody says. If you're listening right now, it's not a catch. But he let him right down there. He did the same thing that Tom Brady did. Let him right down and needed to score. He just didn't score. Um, Tom he's a better quarterback in terms of the accolades. But if I was gonna pick one or the other early in their career, and I was the coach, I it wouldn't I would it would it wouldn't bother me which one I got. Let's just say that. Ben was playing through 3 different coaches. Okay, he had Cowher. Then they had some one coach one year that I don't remember his name, and then they had Mike Tomlin. Tom Brady has only known Bill Belichick. They have never switched head coaches. I don't. They've only switched offensive coaches one time. Big Ben has played through multiple head coaches, multiple offensive coaches. He's seen different playbooks, different strategies, a lot more than Tom Brady has. If Ben had only been with one guy, if you flip the script, Tom Brady got drafted by the Steelers, Ben got drafted by the Patriots. I think it would be Ben with the 5 touchdown, with the 5 rings.
Okay. No, I wasn't,
No, ma-
man. I have to
but no
disagree
matter
with you
what,
on that, Rob.
nah, I think that's the way it would go. But no matter what, to get back onto that injury thing, I think it's just I think it's fake. I think it's
You think it's
fake.
just a
I don't think it's real.
yep?
I don't think it's real. But like I was saying, like this past week we had the Eagles playing. Damn, who did the Eagles play? Falcons. The Eagles played the Falcons. They won 15-10.
Yeah.
The Vikings played the Saints. They won 29-24. Patriots played the Titans. They won 35-14. And the Jacksonville Jaguars played the Steelers and they won 45-42. So we got, I think this Saturday and Sunday. I don't remember which games were which, but we
Man, I
got
was rooting for the Bills, man. I was rooting for them. I was going for the Bills, man.
Bills were never gonna make it, bro.
They made it further than my Packers did, so
Yeah, but
can't
your
knock on.
Packers would have made it further had the quarterback not killed himself.
Yeah.
Not really killed himself. Broke his collarbone. Poor choice of words. But anyways, we got Patriots and Jags, and then we got Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings. Should be a good weekend. We got this weekend for games, and then next weekend we got off, I believe, and then the weekend after that is when the Super Bowl is. Yeah, because next
So,
week I think is the Pro Bowl.
so how terrible was it for Carson Wentz to get hurt, man?
Well, I mean Nick Foles kind of pulled through. I mean they only scored 15 points. The defense held them to that victory pretty
Mm-hmm.
much. And from what I remember, the same thing as last year, the Falcons choked because they could have actually went down and scored. Because at the end of the game, Matt Ryan still had a touchdown pass to Julio Jones, but Julio Jones dropped it.
Yep.
It bounced. It went through his hands. It bounced off his helmet. So blame Julio Jones for missing that catch because they might have won that game.
Yep.
Then it would be the Vikings versus the Falcons, and Nick Foles would
Yep.
never. This the conversation of the Eagles wouldn't even be in this video right now.
That's true. But it is what it is. That's where the cookie crumble. We should see. I'm excited to see how this NFL is going to play out. I mean, it's down to the nitty gritty. There's only a few teams left.
Yeah, and
we'll be here to break it down for you guys.
real quick, moving off of the football, we're going to get into baseball. I just want to let everybody know that the free agent market is still going to be up for a few more, 1, 2, 3, probably about 2 more weeks. It's going to be really heavy. But nobody notable has really been signed yet, except for some of the Pirates are making trades. They're the homeboy that they've had for the longest time, Andrew McCutchen. They finally traded him to the San Francisco Giants.
Mm-hmm.
They traded him for a handful of prospects. They were actually in conversations with my team, the Yankees, but the Yankees didn't want to give him too much because they felt that Andrew McCutchen is past his prime, I can kind of agree. I mean, he's 31 years old. He was hitting below 300 last year. He just I don't know. I don't think he's top dollar. He's not like a big. He's not an A-list anymore. I mean, he has his MVPs, he has his All Stars, but as of late, he hasn't been performing too much. And then on top of that, Garrett Cole from free agent from the actually the Pittsburgh Pirates again. They're just losing everybody. Pittsburgh Pirates are losing everybody.
Mhm.
They've always been a farm team. They ain't nothing gonna be but a farm team. But
Mhm.
they lost their starting pitcher to free agency, and actually the World Series champions, Houston Astros, picked him up. They already have a loaded bullpen, and their pitching rotation now with Garrett Cole is going to be ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I think they not necessarily going to repeat because the Yankees they got too much firepower right now. Nobody's able to keep up with them in terms of offense right now. And then in defense, they got a star-studded defense right now. They got a bunch of Gold Glove contenders on the Yankees. The Yankees are just taking over this free agent market, and now they got one. There's like two A-list pitchers out there right now, and Yu Darvish and Jake Arrieta. Now both of them are past 30, but the pitching age is usually you don't want to take a risk if somebody's 34, 35. That's kind of old for pitchers. But
Mhm.
Yu Darvish, he's a strikeout man. He about 3 years in a row he led the league in strikeouts. And then Jake Arrieta, he's been killing it over there in Chicago. So those two are the big names that last time I checked that are leading the free agency market. And I know the Cubs, they still want Jake, and the um, San Francisco Giants, they're trying to reach out to Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish says that he wants to go to play for New York, but New York has to make some cap space. And if Yu Darvish goes to the Yankees, that's just going to fill up their bullpen, and
Sounds like money to
they are
me.
gonna they are gonna just they're gonna be a tough team to beat because they've already got everybody that was in their lineup last year that got them into within one game of the World Series. They only lost by like 2 points.
Everybody's on the same. Everybody's still on that same team.
Everybody, yeah, not the offense. We lost some veterans. That's okay.
Mhm.
The pitching lineup is all the same. Everybody is exactly the same. So
Mhm.
if we were gonna add Yu Darvish or Jake Arrieta to the rotation, oh man, that is just plus CC Sabathia. He came back, so he's the captain of the team right now. He's he's the veteran. He's been around the
Veteran.
longest.
Oh yeah.
He he's really leading that team. But like the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're not making any moves. The Houston Astros, they already made their move. I'm pretty sure their cap space is limited. I'm not sure how much more luxury cap they have in on that team. The Indians, they're not making any moves. The Red Sox, they're not making any moves. As far as I know, they're still signing up their team. The Dodgers. Oh yeah, that was another thing. The Dodgers are trying to get to Yu Darvish. Um,
What's up with the Twins?
Minnesota Twins. Oh, they're still in the fight. They're still talking about the there's a lot of teams that are in the free agent market, but then there's a lot of teams that aren't. Like it's hard to explain. Like there's some teams that'll buy contracts and there's some teams that'll buy free agents, and then there's other teams that aren't looking to buy anything and they're just looking to clean house. Pittsburgh
Right.
Pirates are looking to clean house. They're just
Right.
cleaning people and then they're getting what they can. Basically cleaning up the scraps that everybody doesn't want. Because the Pirates, they have some A-list players like Garrett Cole who's gone, McCutcheon who's gone. They already dealt their cards. So now they're just picking up the scraps from everybody else. Then you got
Mhm.
heavy hitters like the Dodgers, the Astros, the Yankees, the Twins, the Red Sox, the Indians. Teams that have made it to the playoffs, that have made it deep, that made it to the World Series, that are automatic champion contenders, that are just they're in the hunt to get the big players.
Mhm.
Now, the free agent market, obviously the players, if they're smart, their agents are going to push it as far as they can to get every dollar that they can. But then if the player does that, they try to scratch for all the money, scratch for all the time. That really puts a strain on the GM of all these ball clubs because they're worried about, oh, if I make this move, am I going to have enough money? If I make this move,
Mm-hmm.
am I going to be able to have the cap space? If I make this move, what's my money going to be like next year when I have to pay everybody all this money? Because you know,
Right.
baseball is not like basketball. It's not like the NFL where you have a permanent cap. Baseball is all about what you do to make your own money. Now, there's this thing
Right.
called a luxury cap where, oh, that's where you stop. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
you can't go past that. That's what they'll say. Oh, you went past it. Can you afford it? Okay, done. That's basically what it is. And the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Twins, um, you know, really, the city is flourishing. New York, Minnesota, LA, even Miami, where the city makes money, so the team makes money, so they have a higher luxury cap than a lot of other teams. That's why New York has always been known for they just spend money, they spend money, spend money. It's New York City. They're making the most money of all the cities in the United States. Of course, they're gonna have the most money, and especially since everybody loves to hate the New York Yankees.
Everybody.
You know, Everybody loves to hate them.
Everybody.
Everybody loves to hate the New York Yankees. Like you even have people who like the Mets just despite the Yankees. I don't know
Just to
any
hate the
I
Yankees.
don't
Yep.
know any real Mets fans. I mean, why would you even like the Mets? It's a generic team. It's like it's
Like a
like
knockoff Yankee.
yeah, it's not even like it's like you're hungry for Doritos, so you go and buy Cheez-Its. Not even close to being the same thing.
Wait,
Not
wait,
even in the
wait,
same
wait, wait.
competition.
But I love. But what if you love cheeses though?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying if you're hungry for Doritos and you want Doritos, and you have Doritos on your mind, the Yankees are the Doritos, and you go to the store and you just say, "Oh, Doritos, eh, everybody's buying Doritos." Turn around and just pick up a box of anything else. You just don't like you choose not to like the Yankees just because you see that a lot of people like the Yankees. Nah, I don't
True.
want to do that. I like the Mets. I like the Mets. That's pretty much what it is. I don't know any real
Good
Mets
analogy,
fans.
man. I like that. I like your analogy game going on, man. It's pretty on point, man. I like that.
I just don't know any real Mets fans, to be honest.
Nah, I've never heard of somebody rapping the Mets, but the Yankees, absolutely, absolutely. They're about like Clemson fans around here. They're about just like Clemson fans, crazed, insane fans who only like the team because everybody else likes the team.
Yeah, see,
For real.
I like when it comes to the college, I like the Oregon Ducks because Oregon is where where Nike started. I'm not a big fan of college
Right.
football. I could care less who wins or loses. Alabama won another title or whatever. I don't care. So what?
Too many teams.
What's that tell me? You got a group of guys that are going to go to the NFL, and either one or two of them will be successful, and the rest of them will be shit,
Be scrubs. Be
or
shit.
they'll
Be shit.
graduate and go to not join the NFL, and then I'll never see them again ever. That's why I don't like college.
Nope.
People come and go way too much.
You'll
It's
hear about
not.
them in the news when they mess up though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, blah blah blah, and caught in a DUI. He was the Heisman winner in 2012 or some shit. It's like, okay, cool. Look what you did with your life.
Right, right.
But
Well, is that all you got, Rob?
we covered baseball. Yeah, we got this. For the people that like the tennis, we got the Australian Open is underway. Um, I didn't write down all the names. We're still deep into the bracket where There's a ton of matches going on. We haven't got to the nitty gritty down to like the 16 or the 8, the quarterfinal, semifinal.
Yeah, we gotta bust
But
the tennis back open, man. We
but
really
when the
yes.
tournament gets shorter by next week, we'll have more information for you. But that's pretty much all that I've got for the playoffs, and then we got NBA stuff. Nothing too drastic. We
We'll
had
get heavy on the NBA once the NFL's over. Like
yeah.
once the NFL's over.
The only thing I can really note is the Rockets played the Clippers a couple days ago. And for you guys that don't know, Chris Paul used to play for the Clippers, and now he plays for the Rockets. He left because he wanted to leave. He made it known that he wasn't having a successful career with the Clippers. Now, when he gets to LA, they don't necessarily boo him, but they don't cheer him either. And then
Yeah, he's like an in limbo player. Just like
all
he's in there.
game long,
Yeah.
all
Oh yeah.
game long, it
Oh yeah.
was a fight. They Blake Griffin was elbowing him. He was pushing back.
Oh
A
yeah.
couple other Rockets that were rubbing against each other the wrong way, running into each other, and then it just blew the lid. Blake Griffin or Chris Paul got a technical on him, I believe, and he went up and was like talking shit to the ref or some shit. And Blake came over and ran his mouth, and then Chris tried to get in his face. And Chris Paul is only like 5'8". Blake Griffin's like 6'4". So it was
Oh
kind
yeah.
of funny to me to see that. I mean, you don't know about anybody, it's all about the dog, the fighting the dog, not the bark, and whatever that whole sentence. But my whole thing was at the end of the game, or before the end of the game, Blake Griffin got tossed. Now, I thought it was reasonable because uh, he was always following the instigation. If something was to come up, he would always get in their face. Every time something came up, Blake Griffin got in the face. So I thought it was legit, but that so far, nothing else is really coming up other than that. James Harden got hurt. I believe it's his hamstring, but I don't think it's too serious. I haven't really read about it too much. But other than that, that
And
covers
Tristan
up all
and
the
Tristan
major
Thompson
sports.
and Tristan Thompson got Khloe Kardashian pregnant. Don't forget that news. Bye bye Tristan Thompson.
I didn't know that.
bye
I'm sick of those
bye.
girls being in the damn news, man. They are so ugly. I don't care.
Ooh,
Y'all can think all of them are pretty, man. Those girls are ugly.
the Kardashians.
Yeah, all of them are ugly.
Whew, I don't know about that, man, but
They are all ugly.
man.
You don't know why they're
Oof.
ugly? Because they're fake.
Well, Kim Kardashian,
Fake.
if you're watching,
Kim
Rob thinks
Kardashian, you're
fake.
ugly if you're ugly.
Oh
I
God,
don't even like Kanye West, but I feel bad for him sleeping with all that
they're gonna
plastic.
shut. They're gonna shut our channel down. You're talking about the most powerful family in America.
Most powerful family, my ass.
Well, guys, we are going to go ahead.
You mean most powerful family, man? I feel bad for them.
Most,
They're more
most
plastic inside them than there is in a Barbie collection.
I believe it, and I agree. But still smile candy. Anyways, move on to some people. I
can't even see
you.
Where is your picture? Picture's going.
Oh, is it not on? I didn't even notice. There we go. So, moving on to some MMA news. A couple big things. I watched an interview that Ariel Helwani, he's the journalist for the UFC and MMA. He did an interview with Chris Cyborg, and Chris Cyborg, of course, we know she just defeated Holly Holm.
Yep.
For the belt, she defended her belt. But the thing that she was saying was, this is what Cyborg was saying. Cyborg said that she's giving out hints that she's coming toward the end of her career. I mean, she's in her 30s. She's 32. She's getting up there. She's only got a few more years left to fight. And what Cyborg is trying to say is she doesn't want to be known, especially in her prime right now. She doesn't want to be known for beating bantamweights. She wants to be known for fighting featherweights. So I've been preaching this. You guys have people who have been watching know that I have definitely been preaching. Definitely be fighting bantamweights, fighting featherweights, and that is the problem that we keep running into. Cyborg said it herself, that her dream right now is that when she retires, she wants the featherweight. She wants to know that she beat all the featherweights that's in her division. Because she even said right now, stuff that she's been reading. Stuff that she's been reading in the media is saying that, oh, Cyborg, you're only known for, right now you're only known for beating bantamweights. I mean, everybody that she has fought since she's been in the UFC has been someone that fights at bantamweight. Yeah, Holly Holm used to fight in boxing at 168. In the 150s, she fought in the 150s for boxing. I think she even fought as high as maybe the 170s, if I'm not mistaken. I don't.
That's a huge
don't
bitch.
Quote me on, that's what I'm saying. Don't quote me on that because I'm not exactly sure if Holly fought quite that big, but she's fought at heavier weight classes than 145. Now, she hadn't fought in heavier weight classes in the UFC, but her preferred weight class in the UFC is bantamweight, which is 135. What we're saying this is because Ariel asked her about the fight that she's been offered against Amanda Nunes, and Amanda Nunes used to fight at 145, but Amanda Nunes is the 135-pound queen right now. She's the champion of the bantamweight division. So the name Megan Anderson came up so much here lately with Cyborg, because Megan Anderson is the best featherweight out there right now. Besides, she's won all these. I mean, and she even brought up the name Cindy Dandois. And the other day on Twitter, even Misha Tate was saying, okay, so you guys have put her. I mean, she's been in there with Lena Landsberg, who is a Muay Thai champion. I mean, that fight didn't go very well, but Muay Thai champion. Chris Cyborg defeated Gina Carano. Chris Cyborg defeated Marlos Conan.
That was a good fight.
It was. She defeated Charmaine Tweet. She defeated Marlos Conan twice. So okay, you put her in there with these stand-up fight. Holly Holm. You put her in there with these stand-up fighters. Let's see what someone who with a good ground game.
Do you think they'll do a double champion fight again, like they did with Connor?
Well, Connor and Eddie. The way this Amanda Nunes and Cyborg fight is brewing up right now, it looks like there may be, but I highly doubt it. Because Cyborg is saying she wants to fight Megan or Cindy next, and there's a few more, like Daria Ibragimova, even though she already beat Ibragimova, but you have all these girls that are ready to fight, so let's put them in the UFC, and that is what Cyborg is preaching. Let's get these girls here so I can fight them. And she also said, not only will I get a chance to fight them, but they will get a chance to fight each other. So to build this division like every other division that's in the UFC, instead of, Cyborg said she doesn't want to just do money fights, which the money fights are nice. And it looks like that this Amanda Nunes Cyborg fight would be another money fight, but it just doesn't seem right. Stop pulling these bantamweights up to fight Cyborg. Cyborg, she's completely out of their weight class right now. So anyways, the thing with Megan Anderson is the only fight that really makes sense. That's the fight that has to happen. I mean, because if they sign Cindy Dandois, Battle Cat, to get in there and fight Cyborg, I believe that fight will go to Cyborg, only because I don't think Cindy Dandois can handle stand up and can get around. Even though she's Cindy Dandois is great with getting people to the ground. I mean, she fought me. I mean, she's trained by Misha Tate. She trains with Misha Tate. So as far as getting somebody to the ground, I mean, if anyone can do it, Battle Cat can do it. But the thing is Cindy Dandois the type of person, is that the skill set that is going to be needed to defeat someone like Chris Cyborg? But let's find out. Get these girls in this division. Megan Anderson is chomping at the bit, but she keeps coming up with reasons why she can't fight. She keeps saying that she's not clear to fight, or all these different issues. I don't think Megan Anderson is scared. I really do not think Megan Anderson is scared. I think Megan Anderson has, and Coach Shelton Harrison brought up a good point. I was watching his podcast. You guys definitely need to go subscribe to Coach Shelton Harrison. He has a great podcast on women's MMA. Pointed out it may be something like mental going on with Megan Anderson, which mental issues right now, most definitely get that taken care of before you worry about fighting. But I really don't think Megan Anderson is scared. I mean, she's like I pointed out before, she's bigger than Cyborg. She hits just as hard as Cyborg. She's longer reach than Cyborg. Everything's there for her to beat Cyborg. This Amanda Nunes fight, I don't think that should happen. You got Kat Zingano returning at UFC 220, which is nice. The bantamweight division needs Kat Zingano. We're definitely ready for that. Also, if you move on to another big topic, which is Daniel Cormier, John Jones is cleared of his undetected test on the doping that USADA caught him on. So he did pass a lie detector test. I don't know exactly what that means as far as will he be cleared, whether or not he known he was taking that kind of a substance that was going to fail him. I don't think he knew personally, but I
think he knew.
I don't think he knew because he passes a lie detector test. So
I could pass a lie detector test.
I don't know, man.
I could pass a lie detector.
This man was giving.
I could do it tomorrow if I wanted. Those things aren't hard. Those things aren't hard, man. It's easy to lie. Oh, the government does it every day.
Depending on what happens at UFC 220 with Daniel Cormier and Volkan Ostovic, excuse me. Ozdemir, however you say his last name, that will determine what happens next with him. I mean, that could potentially set Daniel Cormier up for a. That could definitely set him up for a third fight with John Jones, which that of course a lot of people would want to see that because I mean he wants to beat John Jones. But let me rally back a little bit. A couple weeks back, we had UFC Fight Night, or a week ago, we had UFC Fight Night 124. Jeremy Stephens versus Doo Choi for a featherweight bout. And, they're both knockout artists, and it was, everybody, it was kind of split between who was being chosen to win, this and that. But Jeremy Stephens got in there and knocked out Doo Choi, which was just, I mean, it was an amazing back and forth fight. But Jeremy Stephens dominated Doo Choi throughout that entire fight. I mean, it was a great fight, but Jeremy Stephens definitely showed Doo Choi who was the most dominant fighter that night. Now, overall, I think Doo Choi is a better fighter than Jeremy Stephens. Shows that experience and being in the octagon for a long time definitely does have its advantages, and he showed that against Doo Choi. But overall, like I said,
you see more fight styles. More fight styles you see, the more you're able to adapt to whoever's coming at you.
Oh yeah, and he definitely he neutralized everything Doo Choi threw at him pretty much. I mean, Doo Choi had his success. He had his success in that fight, but I mean, Jeremy Stephens proved, big brute strength. Power and strength will definitely push you through a fight if you use it in the right technical way, which was great. It was a great fight. Also on that card was Paige Van Zandt versus Jessica Rose Clark. Zant's return, and it was her debut in flyweight, which is 125. So she's not having to cut all the way down to 115 anymore, which is and nothing wrong. This is what happened in that fight. Paige looked great in that fight. Paige Van Zandt, I'm not taking anything away from Paige Van Zandt. Paige Van Zandt is not my favorite fighter in the UFC. I think she was a little overrated. But PVZ looked great against Jessica Rose Clark in that first round. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, after the first round in her corner, she let her corner know that she had broken her arm. Her arm was broke after the first round. So Paige only could use her left hand and throw kicks the second and third round, which put Paige at a major disadvantage. It put her at it just completely screwed up because she would not throw the right hand. I mean, her arm was broke, so she broke it on a devastating spinning back fist that landed clean on Jessica Rose Clark. But Jessica Rose Clark, she honed in on the fact that Paige was injured. She could see it. And Paige was throwing kick after kick. And we all know Paige has devastating kicks. I mean, she knocked Beck Rollins out with that kick, with that flying switch kick. And Beck Rollins was out. But both of these girls have fought and beat Beck Rollins. So they had that under their belt. But PVZ she lost via decision. Jessica Rose Clark, like I said, she was like a pit bull when she noticed that Paige was injured. So it went down. It was great. Her debut in the women's flyweight division was Jessica I. Now, Jessica I, she was fighting in the bantamweight division. She fought Leslie Smith. She fought Misha Tate. She fought a few more people. I think she fought Betch Coher. And she won that fight. It wasn't the prettiest of fights, but Jessica I won her debut in the flyweight division. She was always a little undersized, right along with Valentina Shevchenko. For the bantamweight division, she was too big for She was too big for strawweight, too small for bantamweight. So now that they have the flyweight division, all those girls can meet in the middle. And I'm telling you guys, you hear us saying it here. Division is getting ready to be one of the biggest divisions in the UFC because that division is going to be stacked.
Yeah, it's basically like the purgatory where everybody that doesn't fit one place is going to go.
Right. You got Paige Van Zandt. Well, I wouldn't call Paige as much of a threat, but you have Nico Montano, who is the champion from the Ultimate Fighter. And you got her probably getting ready to fight Sijara Eubanks, who was supposed to fight her at the finale, but she couldn't because of issues. You got Joanna Jędrzejczyk potentially moving to flyweight. You have Valentina Shevchenko moving down from bantamweight to flyweight. You got people like Jessica I moving down from bantamweight to flyweight. You got people like Alexis Davis jumping down from bantamweight to flyweight. And once again, you got all these girls from the Ultimate Fighter flyweight season there. I mean, you got Barb Honchak, the former Invicta strawweight champion. You got Montana De La Rosa. She is a solid prospect from the Ultimate Fighter. Montana De La Rosa, she reminds me a lot of Misha Tate. And it's kind of crazy that no, it wasn't her. It was another girl. But she reminds me of Misha Tate a lot as far as being someone who starts off with a wrestling. Her base was wrestling, and that's the same with Montana De La Rosa. And then someone who isn't afraid to stand and trade, even though they're wrestlers. And I love that. I love when a fighter is like that, kind of like Stipe Miocic in a way.
Well, if you come from a wrestling background, the way I see it is, if you know that you can be strong in one way, fight into whoever your opponent's like background. If they can stand up and strike, you should stand up and strike with them. Get them get them like feeling good, or you maybe even test the waters. Maybe like stand up and strike with
Yeah,
a striker, even though you're a strong wrestler. Maybe you find some windows. You can
exactly.
take advantage
Exactly.
of those opportunities and bring them to the ground and wrestle.
Right. And
I've always
go
really
ahead.
enjoyed watching fighters that can adapt. My favorite fighters are the fighters that adapt. They
Mm-hmm.
they don't just stick to one path and use that their whole career.
And there's only been a few people who've done that. What you just said, and there's only been a
Yeah.
few people that and one person that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is Damian Maya. Damian Maya is the last pure jiu-jitsu specialist in the UFC. Now there's a few coming in that have made have been the talk, have been the buzz, especially in this flyweight division. People like Jillian Robertson from the Ultimate Fighter. She's a pure jiu-jitsu specialist who just pulled off a slick armbar in the finale of the Ultimate Fighter. You guys should go back and watch that. She pulled off a slick Ronda Rousey-esque armbar. So you do have a lot of pure jiu-jitsu specialists coming into the UFC. But Damian Maya is the only person right now I can really think of that in some fights he didn't throw any punches. Like he didn't throw any punches. He faked a punch and went straight in for the takedown. And he gets you on the ground, and you got people but you have some fighters who are like the best of both worlds, and that'll be someone like Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib can maul you.
That's just all talent, though.
He can. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Khabib can maul you on the ground, and he has excellent stand up. Best of both worlds. But this women's flyweight division is definitely shaping up to be a major, major, major division, and I cannot wait to see it fall. I cannot wait to see it.
What are the biggest upcoming fights? Like, is there anything? I know
the biggest upcoming fight right now would be UFC 220, and that is Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic.
Did you see the Bellator thing coming back? Rampage Jackson is fighting somebody.
Oh yes. I'm ready. I'm going to be covering that too, buddy.
That's gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
Rampage. See if he still got anything left in him. But speaking of Bellator, jumping back to the Cyborg thing, Cyborg expressed an interest in moving to Bellator if UFC doesn't get the featherweight division rolling. She's like, she said, featherweight girls every week. She was like, well, I don't understand why it's not happening in the UFC. Bellator is signing girls every single week. So, and pretty much I'm guessing that's throwing out to Dana White and Sean Shelby, the matchmaker. Like, dude, look, if y'all don't sign some girls, I'm jumping to Bellator where I'm gonna have fights and I'm gonna be fighting these girls. I'm gonna be fighting the best of the best. Because Bellator, people sleep on Bellator. Bellator's got some stacked talent, and they also have some. Invicta also has some stacked talent. So there's featherweights out there, but what Cyborg wants to do is bring that division to the light that UFC can shine on it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the light that's the ultimate place to be is the UFC. And she would love to see a strong stacked featherweight division in the UFC, which I agree. Let's do it. And there's gonna be a lot of knockouts, but there's gonna be some great fights in that division.
Knockout.
Say what?
Said yeah, there'll be a lot of knockouts.
Oh, there'll be a lot of knockouts. But moving on to what's upcoming. Francis Ngannou, #1 contender, who just come off of a blazing knockout when he knocked out Alistair Overeem. I swear he almost killed Alistair Overeem. Knocked out Alistair Overeem. Now he is fighting. Oh. But now he is fighting the champion, Cleveland, Ohio native, Stipe Miocic. I've already talked about this. Is on the cusp of becoming the baddest man on the planet. Title this third time against Francis Ngannou.
I don't know. Mike Tyson is still alive, so he still has that.
No, I don't know. Mike Tyson fighting these guys would be a little different than fighting them boxing guys, homie. But if Stipe, he will make UFC history if he can defend that belt. But he has also the biggest test of his career standing in front of him, and that is Francis Ngannou.
You think any of these guys could take Mike Tyson in his prime?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, hell no.
Absolutely.
Hell no.
Absolutely.
Mike Tyson in his prime would rip apart anybody in any division, anywhere.
Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou, Alistair Overeem,
They wouldn't stand a chance.
those guys, Stephen Struve, those guys are no joke, man.
Have you seen Mike Tyson box in his prime?
Andre Arlovsky,
Have you seen Mike Tyson box in his prime?
I have seen Mike Tyson box in his prime. Have you seen these boys fight in their prime?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If you've even seen even 2 of his knockouts, you wouldn't even be considering any of these boys would have a chance.
Yes.
Mike Tyson hit harder, was smaller, and was faster than anybody that you've seen.
So if Mike Tyson get in there with Francis Ngannou, knowing what he just did to Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem is a world.
Well, it depends on what rules you're talking about. If we're going into boxing, Mike Tyson would rip apart anybody.
Nope.
Yep,
Anyways,
in Mike Tyson's prime, would rip apart any of them. I would bet my life on that.
Nah, I can't give you that one, Rob. I'm sorry, man.
I don't. You only say that because you're a UFC fan.
You better believe
That's the only reason you're saying
to
that.
the bone. To the bone.
None of those boys would be able to keep up with Mike in his prime.
Well, maybe one day we'll see that happen. Hey, we seen.
No, we won't see that happen. Mike Tyson is way done. He's fat and he's got businesses. He doesn't care about fighting.
It happened.
That's because Floyd was only 2 years retired. Mike Tyson hasn't fought in 12.
Let me finish what I was saying, though, Rob. You got me distracted talking about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson watches UFC fights. He wouldn't dare participate. Yeah. So what I would say, what Stipe would have to do to retain his belt is that Stipe mixes up. Francis has a hole in his game, which would be the ground. Nobody's ever really seen him. He's kind of weak on the ground. He's weak on the ground. He's a big, huge man. And see, that's where Stipe excels, is on the ground. So, but Francis Ngannou excels on the stand-up side of it. But Stipe also excels on the stand-up side of it. So it's like Stipe has more keys to the victory than Francis Ngannou. But Francis Ngannou can stop Stipe. He has the potential to stop Stipe with one shot. But also Stipe has the potential to stop Francis with one shot. So it's kind of like ping pong, man. It's like you go back and forth. You don't know what to think. You don't know who to put your money on, who to put your betting on. I mean, it's just, this is like one of the most stressful fights to think about and fights to watch. Because I'm pulling for Stipe.
It's going to be one of the most fun fights to watch.
It's going to be a fun fight to watch. It's not going to last very long, but it's going to be a fun fight to watch. I'm curious to see how Stipe will handle storm of Francis Ngannou in the first round. And I think if Stipe his fight IQ is very high, so he knows what he's very aware inside the octagon, that I've noticed when he fights, and it's gonna be. I'm curious to see how he's gonna handle the thunderstorm of Francis Ngannou, because Francis is gonna come hard because he wants that title very bad, but Stipe doesn't want to give up that title either. So that's going to be an interesting fight to see. It's also going to be curious to see how to what Stipe comes at him for. I don't have combat training. I don't know the ins and outs of this kind of stuff, but I took karate as a kid, but I'm talking about this.
Oh, you ready to go, bro? You can go in there and win the belt. I put my money on you.
Well, I appreciate that. But just watching these fights that watching these styles that I fought, that I've watched over the years. I've watched a lot of fights over the years, and you begin to learn and you begin to see what these guys do. And what he does is he creates a puzzle for his opponents. His opponents don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to strike? Is he going to go take him to the ground? Are we going to wrestle? And he knocked Fabricio Verdun out running backwards and won the belt. I mean, so he has so many tools. And see, that's the thing. Like Francis Ngannou hasn't showed all of his tools yet. He's had some impressive knockouts, but he hasn't really showed all of his tools like that.
That's
Stipe
just
has shown
talent.
all of his.
That's just
Say what?
talent.
That
Raw
is talent.
talent.
Right, but we've seen what Stipe can do, you know. So I think Stipe, I think Francis Ngannou is going to be is coming in as the favorite. The Vegas betting odds is going to be he's going to be the favorite in this fight, just because of what he done to Alistair Overeem. Did the same thing to him. It just took a few more hits to do it. But he definitely knocked out Alistair Overeem just as bad as Francis Ngannou did. See how that turns out. Also, on that same card is Daniel Cormier defending his lightweight title. Light heavyweight title, my bad. Against Volkan Ozdemir. So it's going to be a very big fight. And I watched Ariel Helwani, the same guy who interviewed Cyborg. He interviewed DC, and DC said that Volkan Ozdemir was like a JV play on varsity. And that was just like a cut to the knees, man, because you don't usually see DC like that. Like DC's very like a funny guy, you know what I'm saying? Like when he commentates, he's a very light spirited guy. You know, he isn't very not very trash talking, except when it comes to John Jones. But there must be something about Volkan Ozdemir that has got Daniel Cormier's panties in a bunch, because he is talking a lot of junk. He's talking a lot of junk. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. That's definitely Daniel Cormier feels like he's fighting for a vacant belt because of the whole situation with John Jones coming back and then winning, him knocking out DC, and then again, and then, you know, that whole situation. Daniel getting his belt back. So he doesn't quite feel like he's the champion until he beats John Jones.
Roids.
But he can't feel that bad because he didn't tell John Jones to cheat. You know, he didn't do that. That's not Daniel Cormier's fault. Daniel Cormier did his job the way he showed up to the fight, and he fought. He did what he was supposed to do. It's not his fault that John Jones got popped twice for PEDs. So that's a bed that John Jones is gonna have to make, and the bed John Jones is gonna have to lay in. And stuff. So we got 2 title fights coming up, guys. We're definitely gonna be talking about the results to those on our next show.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into
that's it. Actually, oh yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. We're gonna make our predictions on that coming up too. Also, this is all just to end it out real quick, guys. This is all I got. Conor McGregor, Dana White is saying that because there's this thing right now in the lightweight division. The lightweight division, somebody is supposed to be fighting for the belt right now, because you have Khabib Nurmagomedov, you have Eddie Alvarez, and you have Tony Ferguson, who's the interim champion. Somebody has to step in, you know. And so Dana White is saying going to have to defend that belt by March. Because Conor's talking about coming back in September. Nobody's waiting until September on Conor McGregor. You know, like the Conor McGregor.
I want to see Conor fight Eddie Alvarez.
But actually, I'm going to get to Eddie. The Conor McGregor phase is kind of blowing over now. And they're like, okay, this division has to move on in order for things to go like they're supposed to go. And like I said in our last episode of Sports Scrutiny, that and you know, just because you fight one time at lightweight does not make you the best lightweight in the world. You're still, you're in Khabib's eyes, Conor's still a featherweight. He's still the featherweight champion.
Yeah, he's not at all the best lightweight.
No, he's not the best lightweight. He's not.
He's a champion, but he's not the best lightweight. No way.
I think that he doesn't want to go in there, and because I think Conor knows. This is what Conor knows. Okay, and this is why Conor's not fighting. And this is my opinion, coming from me. Sports Scrutiny Live, BJ is my name. does not want to fight Tony Ferguson. He does not think Tony Ferguson is a great fighter, but he is scared to lose against Tony Ferguson because he knew it could happen. Of Khabib Nurmagomedov, I don't blame him. Khabib Nurmagomedov is a scary person. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a cool dude outside the octagon, just by me judging by his interviews and whatnot, but he is a monster in the octagon. And I don't think someone that keeps the pace of Khabib, he was a little sloppy in the fight against Edson Barboza on his return, but that was like his warm-up, ting, ting, sharpen up fight. You know what I'm saying? Khabib Nurmagomedov. And I think he's scared of Eddie Alvarez too. Even though he beat Eddie Alvarez, I think he knew that Eddie Alvarez wasn't Eddie Alvarez that night.
I don't think it's that he doesn't want to fight Eddie. I don't think that's it. I think it's more Conor thinks he's so good that he doesn't think the guys in his division have proved themselves enough.
They proved themselves many times over.
Yeah, we know that, but he doesn't know that. You want to know why?
Right.
$100 million. He just made $100 million on top of holding 2 different belts. The only person to ever do it. There's so much shit floating in that big head. It's gonna take a lot to deflate that dude's ego.
And also, Khabib Nurmagomedov is calling out his dad said that they want to fight. Now, when it comes to that matchup is a whole different matchup. Alvarez is that's why it didn't seem right when he fought Conor McGregor. He wasn't himself. Because Eddie Alvarez is dangerous, very dangerous fighter. Like, he's a very violent fighter. And him versus Khabib, somebody's going to get hurt. Now, I think if he was to take Khabib down, that lessens Eddie's chances of winning. It's going to be nice on the feet. So Eddie versus Khabib would be a nice matchup. That'd be a nice matchup. But Khabib is long overdue to fight for a title. He's long overdue to fight for. So Conor's going to have to figure out what he's going to do, or they're going to strip Conor, make Tony the champion, and continue on. You know, so. But I will predict. I'm predicting for my predictions. I'm going to stay and still for both. I'm going to say Stipe Miocic keeps his belt. I'm going to say that Daniel Cormier keeps his belt. And also, I'm going to make a little future prediction. Megan Anderson is going to all of a sudden be cleared to fight, and she's going to come to the UFC and fight Chris Cyborg. And I believe we will have an and new with Megan Anderson.
Nope.
There's a lot of, and I understand. I'm not going to argue with that. I can't argue with that at all. I cannot argue with that one bit.
So basically, your prediction is you want Megan Anderson to win, but you know
I want Megan Anderson to win.
Cyborg has the credentials to win.
Yes, Cyborg can put anybody away at any moment. Absolutely. But so can Megan Anderson. See, the problem when Cyborg fought Holly is Holly hit Cyborg with punches that were supposed to knock her out. She hit Cyborg with hits that were supposed to knock her out. But the power difference is, and the size difference, and the strength difference was so relevant in the Cyborg Holly Holm fight. That was one thing that was so noticeable during that fight, was when you seen Holly touch Cyborg, she just looks like she got hit, and that was it. When Cyborg touched Holly, Holly was like, I mean, it was 10 times more dramatic between the two different punches. But Holly landed some cracks on Cyborg. You have to go back and watch it and look. She's the first person to make Cyborg bleed. it was just the power difference with the strength difference was just very evident. It was just like jumping out blaring like, hey, there's a big difference in power here, you know. So and everyone says it. Holly said it, Cyborg said it, Joe Rogan said it, everybody said it. It was like just the, you know, these hits would knock any other girl out. It's just she's fighting somebody like Cyborg. You know, but Megan Anderson, on the other hand, Megan Anderson, when she hits girls, it's the same reaction as when Cyborg hits girls. When Megan punches, especially when she fought Peggy Morgan, oh my God, Peggy Morgan's jaw was broke. Like it was like lumped. It's crazy. It was like a huge ball.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like she
Yeah,
looked like one of those squirrels. The squirrels packing for winter.
Dude, Megan rocked her dome, and then when she fought Charmaine Tweet, she hit Charmaine so hard that Charmaine gave up. Like Charmaine was like, no more. Like she was like dabbing on Megan Anderson. She was like, no more. It was really how that happened. So, but when, going back to Cindy Dandois, Megan Anderson via submission. You know what I'm saying? So she's the only girl in Invicta to beat Megan Anderson, and she beat Megan Anderson.
It earns you. You earn a lot of credit when you're the only person to beat somebody.
Yeah, you know, and that's why everybody's, you know, people are saying, you know, hey, she is a credible opponent to fight Cyborg. I mean, y'all talking Megan Anderson, Megan, you know, that was a couple of years ago. And Megan's grown as a fighter, so is Cindy. And Megan, but there's Cindy Dandois sitting right there. Battle Cat is sitting right there. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I will fight Cyborg. There's a lot of girls saying that they will get in there and fight Cyborg. There's a lot of girls. It's so many of them. I can't remember all their names. All these top featherweight girls are like,
everybody wants to fight the person that's on top because then they get noticed.
Exactly. But some of these girls actually have the credentials to beat Cyborg. Leah Letson, on the other hand, Letson fights, but Letson's got the formula. I'm telling you, man, we'll see. We'll see. But that's all I got, Rob.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we got. We had a long show, but it was worth it. Everybody that viewed, everybody that is viewing after the fact,
hit the like button.
Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed, and if we missed something, and you want us to talk about it next week, leave a comment on the video. Send a message to either our Facebook channel. Make sure you guys go like that. We do have a Twitter as well. I'll put those links down in the description after the video is posted. And look forward to seeing you guys either next week or the week after that. Hopefully next week because we got the playoffs this weekend. But if not, see you when you see you. Just make sure that you guys keep up with our social media so you know when we are going live.
Absolutely, guys. We're gonna try to come a little bit more often. We've been doing podcasts takes a lot out of you. You know, just doing your research, having to make mental notes and pay attention to what's going on in these sports. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot out of you. So just bear with us, guys. We're doing the best we can. Don't forget, we have personal lives too.
Yeah, trust me. I would be way more focused on this if we know if this paid the bills.
Absolutely. But yeah, guys, appreciate it. Stay tuned with us. Like, share, comment, everything. Sports Scrutiny. We're rolling into 2018. Keeping it rolling.
Y'all have a good night.
See ya.